Ann Sawyer, and I'm the Library Customer Specialist at the Westwood Branch Library, as well as a member of Index, the library's group for young and emerging professionals. Our mission with Index is to help working adults by promoting work-life balance, social interaction, and engagement with the library. We do that primarily by hosting events at local breweries, parks, and other spaces, though lately, of course, we've been connecting people through virtual events like this one. We also have an email newsletter that you can subscribe to keep up to date with upcoming events and helpful books, technology, and other resources from your local library. You can find out more on our website, cincinnatilibrary.org. Today, we're going to be talking about alternative workspaces, specifically van life. I'll be talking with my guest, Lauren Casgren-Tindall, a small business owner and van lifer who will be sharing a tour of her unique work setup and also sharing her experiences and insights about taking your business and life on the road. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
Sure, thank you for being here. So tell me a little bit about yourself and your business.
So I have a branding and packaging design agency called Creme de Mint Design. And we do branding and packaging for food, beverage, cosmetic, and supplements. And what was the second part?
Just tell me a little bit about yourself and what kind of business you're in.
Okay, so to tell you a little bit more about my background, so I was born in Canada, and when I was a couple years old, we moved to the U.S. My parents were goat farmers, and we moved around a lot. We moved from California to Texas to Colorado, back to Washington, back to California. We moved around a lot when I was growing up. And so I've always kind of had this mobile lifestyle, just like moving around a lot type of lifestyle.
Kind of nomadic.
Nomadic, yeah, that was what I was trying to say. Nomadic lifestyle. And so as I got older, I kind of started doing that same type of thing myself. So after I started my business, I started like traveling and having my, trying to do my business remotely. I lived in Holland for a bit. I traveled down to Colombia at one point in time. Just all over. One of the most memorable and challenging times that I had my that I was operating my business on the road was when I was walking the Camino de Santiago, and that was like a 500-mile walk. And the day before I started walking, I had a client sign for a new project. And and I was like, it was a significant amount of money. So I was like, oh, I really want to take it. And it was, so anyway, so I signed on the dotted line. I was like, doing everything from my Surface Pro, which I had brought with me on the trip. And and whenever there was internet, which wasn't that often actually, during the walk, I would, be like designing and, doing stuff for my clients and stuff like that. So that was kind of tricky, one of the tricky ones, but I really like the challenge. It's always like, oh, can I do this? Can I manage to walk like, half marathon every day with like a 25-pound backpack and then also be working? Like, is it possible to kind of do both? Yeah. And so I think that kind of naturally led me towards the van mobile lifestyle.
Awesome.
So yeah.
So what would you say is the best thing about van life?
So the best thing, the best thing is just all the awesome places you get to visit. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, a lot of people who are interested in van life, I'm sure they've seen all the Instagram photos. There's another side to it, but it is that beautiful. And what I love about it is that, I can decide that day, like, okay, I'm going to drive to here and I'm going to go see this. And, I'm going to go work at this cafe, or I'm going to work in my van, or, it's, there's a lot of flexibility. And I enjoy like the newness of seeing all these places I've never been to. I love seeing like the animals in nature. So like one time I was just like cooking something to eat, and this fawn came up and was just like eating grass like 5 feet away from my van, and I was like, oh my goodness, like what's going on here? And then it like it kept eating, and then it kind of went a little bit further away um, and curled up and like took a nap. It was like
That's
so
awesome.
fresh. It was so cool. Yeah, really awesome. Another time, like I saw some like I like glanced out my window. I was in my van. I glanced out my window and I saw people like taking pictures, and I was like, oh, what are they taking pictures of? And I looked, and there was like an antelope like really close to where my van was. Yeah, so it's just like seeing that kind of stuff. My first night that I camped was in Utah. I actually started in Colorado, and I went through the mountains, and I stayed in a couple of friends' driveways in the mountains, and then I started camping after that. So my first night in Utah, I was right along a river, and I opened up my back door, which is where my bed is, and I was like just kind of like lying on my bed and looking out, and there was like a river right there. And there was like a beaver who was just like, going about its business, just like making its house, doing things, and I just was like, wow, I get to like, I get to peer into their living room.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like I guess, being in the city, you just don't have those same experiences every day. And just like all the, beautiful hikes that you get to go on. I was in North Carolina over the summer, or actually it was more like fall. And there's just like a waterfall at the end of every hike, which is just amazing. And there was like one waterfall that you could actually walk behind. And it is just, yeah, that kind of stuff. It's just amazing to me. I just really enjoy that part. So yeah, I would say, yeah, that's the best part.
Yeah. It's like camping full time. It's like living
Yeah,
a camping trip. Like,
yeah, exactly.
so
Yeah.
there's the flip side to that. So what would you say, what's like the most challenging thing about van life? Or like, what are some things that you found out the hard way that you didn't anticipate from the start?
Yeah, so I've heard about people who they go ahead and they, test out to see if it's something that they would like. They rent an RV or whatever. And I did test drive a Travato, which is an RV. But it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't really what I wanted. Like I really love tiny homes. And initially, like I thought about a tiny home. And when I started thinking about, like, can you actually move a tiny home? Not really. I mean, you can, but it's like kind of cumbersome. And I really liked the mobility of, having an RV. So I wanted like this custom built RV. So it's a commercial van. I have a Dodge ProMaster 2500 159 wheelbase. So it's 19 feet. And on the inside, it's like all like cedar like planks, and it's beautiful. I mean, it looks like a little wood cabin on the inside, and it smells amazing, and it's super cozy, and it feels like a home. So yeah, so I think your question was like, what are the challenges around that? So
Mhm.
if you get something built custom, it hasn't been tested. So like your iPhone, when they build your iPhone, they don't just build it and, send it out to everybody. They build it and they test it and they test it and they make sure that what they're sending you is a product that is, hopefully not going to break. Now, when you get something custom, that's not necessarily the case, like I want everything in my van was built custom. I started with an idea. Like I started watching actually Trent and Allie YouTube videos, and they do, they've built out a couple of vans, and I really liked like what they had, but I wanted it in a smaller. I wanted to have the smallest possible van, which is 19 feet, or small as possible for everything that I wanted in it.
So I want to give you a little tour of the van. Come up in here. You have the bed. It's a queen size bed, and out there you see the view from my bed, which is awesome. Up there is an air conditioner. I'll show you that from the outside as well. Right here you'll see there's a couple of cupboards up above the bed. Up here I put my clothes. Over here I put like my silverware is in a different drawer. I put like my plates and other types of things like spices and all that kind of stuff up there. If you come down here, you'll see this is my stove and my oven, and beneath you'll see that there's that's where I store my pots and pans. We come over here. You'll see this right here is a cupboard, and I have like, actually it's a closet. I have like all my clothes and stuff in here. There's a mirror as well. If you look down here, we have a drawer. This is where all my utensils are. Inside here is my refrigerator. Not too full because I'm just doing a short trip. Over here you'll see this is right here, like one of the spots where you can sit, and underneath is a drawer, is another storage space. Right here, if you pull up this little door through there, you can put your laundry. So I put my dirty laundry in there. This right here, there's a drawer you can pull out and put stuff in. It's empty right now. And then if you open this up, you can actually sit at this table. So sometimes I'll sit at this table and work. And you could have somebody across from you and maybe eat or something like that, and just work from this spot right here. Underneath one of the chairs down below, this is actually my heater. So when it gets cold, like sometimes when I'm in, places like Colorado, it'll get cold at night, and that's a great thing to have. I also have an instant water heater. For my shower, like I do have hot water for my shower and also for my sink, which I'll show you in a second. So this is the shower. This is the compostable toilet. You can actually take the compostable toilet out of here when you shower. So a lot of times I'll just, like, it's on Velcro, and I'll just move it right into the hallway. And the compostable toilet, it's a urine diverting compostable toilet, which means that the front, the front part is for pee and the back part is for number 2. And so you have to decide which one you're going to do. Right now I just have it set up for number 1. Behind here you see a little step stool, which I like to sometimes put out in front of my van right here, so that I actually have, like, it's easy for me to step up. Now coming around over here, this is like the front quarters, and if I turn this around, actually let me see if I can do it real quick so you can see the whole setup. But if I turn this chair around, it didn't go all the way around the first time. Okay, if I turn this chair around, I can actually move this chair forward, and I can sit at this table right here. So this would be, this is where I would sit and work on my laptop. So it's a great little spot. Right here, you see the kitchen. And if I pull this up, this is actually a cutting board. I cover it because a lot of times I'm like picking it up after I've used the bathroom, and I want to keep it clean. I don't want it getting all over my cutting, my germ hands getting all over my cutting board. So I cover it with this, with this cover, and take it off when I need it to cut vegetables and stuff. So here's the sink. If you want to turn on the sink, you have this little switch right here, and I don't know if you can hear that noise, but it just turned it on. And you can turn this on like this. I also have something for filtered water, and then right here is for the soap. Up here you see my paper towels. I have this little holder because otherwise the paper towels start to fly around everywhere. I have a little plant right here, which I love. It used to be a real plant, but they kept dying, so I put in a little fake one, and it still looks great, so I love it. I think that's about it for inside. I think I showed you everything. Oh, up here we have the fan. This is great for cross flow breeze. It gets pretty warm in here, and when you open up the fan, turn it on, and then say you have, like, you know, this window open or one of the back windows open at night, it'll just, like, you know, really bring the air through, and it'll be nice and cool and really nice in the evenings or at night. You see, like, this black edge around the back part of my van. What you're seeing there is a place for me to zip in, what do you call it, like a screen for no-see-ums and for mosquitoes. I haven't really used it that much, but that is why there's that black edging there. I also put blackout curtains on the back and right here, and then you'll also see that there's these blackout curtains too that I you know, that I bring over at night so that so nobody can really see inside, and also so that it's dark for me so I can sleep. Up here I have all of my like towels and sheets and, you know, stuff like that. Let me take you out to the garage. I think that's what's next. So I'm coming around the side, and you'll see right here, this right here is for the water. And I have a 21-gallon tank, which isn't huge. The average person takes a 18 to 25-gallon shower, so you have to use the water sparingly. If you look in the back, you'll see that pink thing, and that is actually an insulated, it's my insulated water. And that's just so that it, you know, it's less likely to get frozen when I'm in colder climates. You see here also, I have a lot of space, but you'll see I have a bike over here. This is my water hose, so I can fill up my water. I have a tent. Over here, I have a couple of paddle boards. You see my bike helmet. I have a chair. I have another chair over here and a folding table, like 6-foot folding table. I also have these right here. These are levelers, and this is so that, you know, if I'm on uneven ground, which happens a lot, you have to level it out. Then I also have, this is for this is a cell booster, so if I'm in an area where I don't really get very good cell phone coverage, I can attach that to the outside of the vehicle and hopefully get better cell phone coverage. If you look out here, you see, like, here's my window. Here's where I have a little shoe rack. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, up there I have my air conditioner. If you come around to the side, you'll see this is the plug. This is the one thing that's not part of my setup. I actually have 3 solar panels on top, which will be hard for me to show you, but they're up there right in front of the air conditioner. But the air conditioner is the one thing that I can't plug into solar. It just takes up too much energy. Over here, this is actually the instant water heater that I was mentioning. And if I need to get in there and check anything, that's where I would do that. Underneath, you see these reservoirs, and that's actually for my gray water. If I'm going to, like, a national park and, you know, they aren't allowing any water to go to the ground, I can actually close up my, you know, my tank for showering and for the sink in the kitchen, and it'll stay in there. And I have, I think, 7 gallons on each side, and then I can go ahead and get that, you know, go to a dump site and get that dumped when I need to. I do use, like, all, like, super eco-friendly green soap, you know, like the stuff that people use for when they go camping. So I use this right here. It's called Camp Suds, and it's for, you know, backpackers and stuff like that. So I want to use that so that it's biodegradable and better for the environment, so that if it does go into the ground at any point in time, that I'm not doing anything to harm the environment. So when you look in here, I have two propane tanks, and they power both my oven, and they also power the instant water heater and my heater down below. The other thing is if it's nighttime, like now you see the blackout curtains, and if it's nighttime, I actually have these lights that I can turn on, and they're on dimmer switches. So I can, and I have like several of them. So I have them like one here and one over here, which turns on this one right here. I also have like a light right here, which is nice and bright. So yeah, so when it's dark, there's plenty of light in here. You know, this also inside the bathroom. So yeah, you get an idea of what it would be like also in the evening. So right now I have like these blackout curtains. So you kind of get an idea of what that might be like.
You get everything in there. You know, I wanted a shower. I wanted a compostable toilet. My builder had never built a shower before. Well, he had actually, I take that back. He built one for his own van when he was in Europe, but he wasn't building them regularly for customers. And most of the time, most of the people who bought vans from him were just using them on the weekends. So my builder was Pata Vans, and they're in Colorado. And so a lot of people in Colorado, they're always doing like camping trips like on the weekends and stuff like that. And I wanted something that I could live in permanently, that I could live in it year round if I wanted to. So, so yeah, so I was like, okay, I want this shower. I want this compostable toilet. I also want to have like, you know, some sort of storage tank underneath for the gray water. You know, so when you start to customize, like things, they break. And even if you don't customize, like I have a friend who lives full time in her RV, and things always break. So, you know, she told me the other day, like her slide out wouldn't slide back. And so then she was like, you know, she had to take her truck, because she has a fifth wheel. She had to take her truck and go get, you know, go somewhere where there was internet.
Mm-hmm.
And then watch YouTube videos so that she could figure out what to buy at a hardware store, so that she could fix it temporarily until she got to a big city. So, you know, things can happen even if it's not custom, but when it is custom, things I think just happen more often. So for myself, like this last year, I my water, I had several issues happen with my water and my electrical. So like my water, I have like a switch to turn the water on and off. And you know, I you know, to find somebody to fix it was like impossible. You know, I couldn't find anyone to fix it. So I fixed it myself. I went on YouTube and I, you know, I had to figure it out myself. And, you know, there were, you know, I had some water issues and stuff like that. All sorts of things that happen. And I've only had it for a couple of years. So it's not like it's super old, but things, you know, you're combining a house and a car into one.
Exactly.
And you're vibrating everything.
Right.
So now you're introducing like another element, you know? And so things just, they don't hold up. So like the water leak issues I had, I think wasn't because the builder did a bad job. It was because they vibrated loose, because I'm going all over the place on dirt roads or, you know, driving, and the vibration just like, you know, makes things get loose. So, so yeah, so those type of challenges, it's just, it's hard. It's hard because you know, you don't have time. You're like, okay, I've planned my day to work. And then suddenly you spend your whole day troubleshooting something that's broken that, you know, if you don't have water, like that's your, you know, it's your livelihood. You need water, you need electricity. Like if you're out in the middle of nowhere, like you need that stuff. So,
so that flexibility works both ways. Like,
so it's,
you have to be flexible to take time out of your day to fix things or do things that you didn't think you would have to do. So that's kind of the flip side of having the flexibility and the freedom
Yeah.
to kind of go wherever you want.
Right. Because wherever you want may not have internet. It may say online, like I've had the experience where I've, seen, okay, this campsite has internet, or this campground has internet, and then I get there and it doesn't. You're just like, oh, great. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm booked here for the next few days, and I'm far away from anywhere, and like, so then you have to like figure out what to do, and that stuff, yeah, it can be really challenging. Now, Elon Musk is coming out with this Starlink, which hopefully will solve a lot of the issues around connectivity and having internet. But yeah, I don't know. Until then, it's a struggle around internet. And then even like, say for example, you're boondocking. So boondocking, there's a bunch of places like out in not in California, out in Colorado, Utah, Arizona. There's a bunch of places out there where you can pretty much BLM land where you can, just drive your vehicle and camp there, but there's no, services or amenities or anything like that. So, if you're out in the desert for a while and you run out of water, then you have to find a place to get water. So there's like things that you have to plan for. And yeah, it can just get tricky sometimes, especially if you're like up against a deadline for a client or something like that, or, oh no, like your cell phone isn't working properly. And, I have a cell booster. I have like 2 forms of Wi-Fi. So I have like my cell phone, and then I also have a Verizon hotspot. So hopefully one of those will always work, but it's happened where like neither of them have worked. So, out on the Oregon coast, like that was a nightmare. I had to like text, other people that work with me to ask them to do things because I couldn't do them. I could barely check email. It was, yeah. So yeah, you sometimes don't know where you're going if you're going to have everything that you need. So it can get tricky.
So, so what advice would you give to someone who was embarking on van life for the first time?
Yeah, I would say like, I think if you like solving problems and you're up for adventure, because adventure is like it's not like always good and it's not always bad. It's like it's both. It's everything. It's the fun and the hard. So if you're up for an adventurous lifestyle and you don't mind roughing it sometimes and you enjoy problem solving, then yeah, this might be the right thing for you.
Okay. So, and what would you say? What does it take to kind of live your best life when you're living in a micro space that is also mobile?
Well, it's funny. Like when I first, like I have my space, I have like a garage. I have like a garage, meaning like that's underneath my bed, and under there I have like a couple paddle boards. I have a bike. I have my water down there. I have all sorts of stuff there. What I notice is that I packed up the van, and at some point I was like, okay, I need to start taking stuff out because you start ending up with a lot of stuff. I mean, you can pack a lot of stuff in 19 feet. I mean, it's amazing how much stuff I have in that van. Like it's amazing, like having a shower, having a compostable toilet, having an oven, a stove, a sink. I have like a couple of workspaces, so that actually 3 people could be sitting in there. I even have a hammock inside the van. So there's like, yeah, so there's a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of space, even though it's a small space. But if there's 2 people in there, it's a very intimate space. So if you are planning to do it with another person, you just have to be aware of that, that it is a very intimate, like the size of van that I have, it is a very intimate space. I mean, I have a queen size bed, which is awesome. I mean, it's amazing that that fits in there. But it's, yeah, I think you just have to be careful, like, yeah, what you bring with you. Like, do you need all those things? Like, how many cups do you need? How many, like, I just brought my van back to my house, and I just took everything out of there, because when I go back on the road in a month, I'm going to be like really choiceful and mindful of like what I'm going to take with me. I had plates before, and now I think I'm just going to move to bowls, but like
Yeah.
wide bowls. So, and you also want to think about like things that you don't want anything to break. You always have to secure everything. Like before you start driving, you're like, okay, did I secure everything? Because otherwise things are like flying all over the place, and then it becomes a little dangerous.
Yeah. And that could be a
So,
really expensive mistake if you don't secure like a computer or something.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Did that answer your question?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So, how would you get started doing a custom van build?
Yeah, so I had been thinking about this since like 2016. I started looking into it. I didn't really find very much back then. I'm sure there was van builders, but I was like trying to find something. I was looking into it, and I was at the time I decided to head out to Colorado. My brother lives out there, and we decided that we were going to do some training. We decided to do some Ironman triathlon training, and I decided to stay out there for about a year and a half. And when I was out there, I started investigating more into van life, and I met with two different builders. I contacted, I think, three or four that were in the area. And I met in person two of them to see like what they were like, and like ask them a bunch of questions. Like after I had like watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and had a bunch of questions in my mind, and like what exactly I wanted and the look I wanted. Then I went and I met with the builders. So the the builder that I chose, he answered all the questions that I had. He seemed to know a lot about what he's doing, and he himself had lived in a van for about 4 or 5 years. He's a rock climber, so I felt like he had a really good understanding of what's important when you're in a van. Like, this, like, even things like, he's like, oh, you're going to want, this much space, to walk through, like, he had this like understanding spatially, like what was important, that, oh, you're going to find this kind of a pain if you're always having to do the XYZ, so he had like a really good understanding of that, and that helped tremendously in the build, because I had like a blueprint of what I wanted, and he was like, no, that's not enough space to sit down, that's not enough space for you to like walk through into this little hallway, or he's like, you want to be comfortable. And so I think that was really important. And then also um I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember what I was gonna say just then. But he's very knowledgeable and very helpful. Like even after the build, I've called him panicked several times, like, why isn't this working? And then he'll like walk me through it. And he was always very, very calm and really just amazing at troubleshooting and helping me troubleshoot things. And also YouTube is an amazing resource for that too.
And
So
that's important, because
yeah,
if you're not already a master mechanic and you get this beautiful custom built van, you take it on the road and something breaks, then it's nice to have the person who built it kind of available to help you fix problems that crop up or just answer questions.
yeah, and he's been like Hello, kitty.
Cat bomb.
Yeah, he's been really, really helpful, very incredible throughout. Yeah, the first couple of years. I'm always like, hey, I don't know how to fix this, and he'll, give his suggestions and recommendations. And this last time, it was a combination of talking to him, talking to another friend who also lives in an RV and is a mechanic, and then also YouTube. And that helped me figure it out. Because you're not going to necessarily find van builders like wherever you are,
Yeah.
so you have to become your own best mechanic for your vehicle, for your custom vans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, what are, in your opinion, are some of the most helpful van life resources that you've come across that you would recommend to someone who's interested in van life?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're interested in working on the road, there's a group called Escapers, and they actually have several. They have an annual bash every year. They have several like events that happen throughout the year where you can go and meet other van lifers and RVers. It's not necessary. It's not specifically for van life. It's RVers too that are on the road and working remotely. So I met a few people through there. I went to the the RV annual bash last year, and it was great. And they have all sorts of fun events, but they also had educational events at the bash. So they had, they talked about if you want to go to Alaska, like the things to think about, before going to Alaska. They talked about they talked about, internet. They talked about, apps and stuff like that. So another couple of more apps that I'm always looking at are Allstays and Compendium. So Allstays, I'm always looking at that for, a place to stay. Also looking to see like if there are any bridges that might be in the area that are too short for my van. Because as you get into some of these more rural places, especially when you start heading over to the East Coast, if you're on some of these back roads and you end up, at a bridge that's, not as tall as your vehicle, you could end up in some trouble. So you can actually look at that on the app. So that's really helpful. It also shows you like where you can dump your gray water, where you can get where you can fill up for water as well. So that app is super helpful. Another one is Compendium, and Compendium, it has all the, the same, like campsites and stuff like that on there too, but it tells you, connectivity, like how the Wi-Fi is, how the cell signal is for each of the carriers. So that's a really helpful app as well.
Mm-hmm. And are these free, or do you pay a cost for them?
They're free.
Oh, awesome.
Well, Escapers is not free. Escapers, okay. You pay like a membership for that. But the apps are free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience and talking about van life and working on the road. It's been really great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome.